Hello everyone, and welcome to another Computer Software is Your Friend tutorial. Today I will show you how to get Ubuntu 11.10 on your Aspire 1 netbook. So to start, plug in your install USB into the netbook, press the on button. Now as soon as you see the boot screen, you're going to want to hit F12. And it will go into the boot selection menu, where you will then choose the option that is your USB drive. Now earlier I made the USB drive my priority partition, so that if ever I did need to install something, that would just work automatically. So just hit enter, and it will beep and it will give you a whole bunch of options. In which case you can either run the Ubuntu from the USB and then install from there, or you can just go directly into the installation, which is what we're going to do today, just to save time. Now it will go through a whole bunch of code, and then you're going to see the Ubuntu splash screen. Now this will take anywhere between 45 seconds and a minute, depending on the machine that you use. Some machines might go faster, but for the Aspire 1 that I'm using, this is pretty much the time frame that we're looking at. And we're entering the GUI. So you can see here's the mouse. It has detected wireless networks. So it does detect my wireless card, and ultimately that's going to be handy for the installation, because if you want to install Ubuntu, it is optimal to have an internet connection so that you can download the extras. So the first thing it's going to ask you is what language you want your Ubuntu to be in. You can choose from a wide range of languages, although I'm going to go with English. Continue. Now it's gonna give you a diagnosis of what it thinks of your situation. It detected that I do have the required hard disk space, that I am plugged into a power source, but I'm not connected to the internet. However, that's not a problem. Now essentially what you want to do is you want to connect to the internet. So you go to the top right corner, you're going to see this internet symbol, and you're going to be prompted with a menu, and you're going to see all of the available networks. You're going to want to choose your network. From this case it will ask you to insert your web key. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to be right back when it's done. And so I've entered my web key. Now I'm going to hit connect, and as you can see up here, it's going to connect, and it's connected, and it automatically detects that. So we're going to hit the check boxes that they give us. The first one installs updates, the next one installs third-party software. I highly recommend this one. It will give you all of the codecs that you're missing, and whatever else you may need. So then you're going to hit continue. Then it's going to ask you if you want to connect to a network. Yes. Choose the one you just connected to and hit continue. Now it's going to give you two options. You can erase the entire hard drive and install Ubuntu, or you can do something else. If you're doing a triple boot like me, you may want to choose something else. From this case, you're going to do continue, and it's going to load all of your partitions. Now you should know what each partition is. and from this it should help a lot. So now if we go through the list, I have my OEM partition over here. After that I have my Windows 8 Developer Preview partition. I have my Mac OS X no leopard partition, and this empty FAT32 partition right here, which is the one we're going to use for Ubuntu. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click change, and then here we're going to leave that size the same. Ultimately, if I try and shrink it, the rest of the space is going to be unusable. If you want to see, I can show you right now. Maybe it could be because it's reached its limit with the partition size it can manage. So then here, before you can select the partition size, it's going to give you a little warning that asks you if you really want to shrink it. So we're going to say yes. We're going to see what it does, because ultimately we would want to have a couple of gigabytes, 1 or 2 gigabytes for the swap, which is essentially, for all of you who are new to this, a swap partition is essentially hard drive space that's used as RAM. And as you can see, it's not usable. You can't change it. You can't do anything. So I'm just going to undo that change by coming back here and boosting it back up to its former self. And essentially the partitioning scheme that you want to use is the ext4 journaling file system. You're going to want to format the partition because obviously it's not in that form right now, and you're also going to want to set a mount point. So you choose your mount point. I'm going to choose this one up here. I find this one's the most logical. And so then we're going to hit OK. It will then prompt us again about the resizing, and we're going to hit continue, because the reality is it's not going to get any better than this. And here it may give us some kind of indication as to its status. And then essentially you're going to watch the changes. They're going to be right here live. So it's scanning the disks, it's doing its thing, and very soon these two are going to merge. And there we go. Very quick, very simple, very painless. However, I won't be able to have a swap on mine, but that's alright, I can make do. So now the next thing you want to do is you want to choose the place for the bootloader. Now before you continue, this is the main hard drive. So essentially you're installing Ubuntu on this partition, but you're essentially making your entire hard drive into Grub, which is their bootloader. So now you don't want to put it into this partition because that's the Windows 7 partition. You don't want to put it into this one either. And you don't want to put it into the Mac OS X. You don't want to interfere with any of these boot managers. So what we're going to do is we're going to confine our bootloader to its partition, which I find is ultimately the best thing, because if ever you want to get rid of Linux, you can ultimately just get rid of the partition and the bootloader will be in that partition, so you shouldn't have any other problems. So now we're going to hit install now, in which case it will tell us that we don't have a swap partition, and it will tell us that our performance will be dismal if we don't have one. However, I don't have much choice, so I'm going to hit continue. Although I don't think I should have too many problems. I hope not. So now on the bottom we see that it's detecting file systems and it's doing its thing, and it's asking a couple of questions. It's detected my location based on my internet connection. It's detected Montreal, so this is the time settings. So continue. And meanwhile it's actually doing the installation in the background. Okay, so then the keyboard, I'm using an English US keyboard. Ultimately you're going to choose the keyboard strokes that you're using, the layout. Continue. Then it's going to ask me for my name, my computer name, my password, and whether or not I want to log in automatically. So I will do this and I'll be right back. So now I'm done with that, and so I'm going to hit continue on the bottom, and meanwhile it has kind of finished copying some files, so now it's waiting for me actually. So now it's going to ask me to put a profile picture, and it has detected my webcam, as you can see, but I don't want to use the webcam. I want to use this. This is cool. So now it's asking me to select accounts that I would like to import, and basically it will import whatever settings and whatever. Now I can do that, although I won't. I'll just start fresh. But in case you're wondering, it'll just bring in whatever settings I had, the documents and that. So then just hit continue. And now it says welcome to Ubuntu, and it's actually going to install the system. So this can take a while, so I'll come back when it's done. And about 45 minutes later, installation complete. So now it will restart my computer into the new Ubuntu installation. So just hit restart now. It won't do a countdown, it won't do it on its own, it's just going to prompt you and leave it be. So hit enter and it will restart. Now you're going to want to hit F12 because you don't want to boot into the USB. This time you want to boot into your IDE, or your hard drive for that matter. And now it's basically in the grub boot manager, and ultimately it's giving you all of your operating systems in one place here. So you have Ubuntu with kernel number 3. You have the recovery mode Ubuntu. You have the memory test. You have a different type of memory test. You have Windows 7, Windows recovery, and then you have your Mac OS X, which is 32-bit and 64-bit. Ultimately, we're going to choose the first one. And now it's going into the Ubuntu splash screen for what could be the first boot. And it's already done. You know that it's done when all of the dots are the same color, because otherwise it would be progressively going dot to dot to dot. Let's see if there's a startup sound. Yeah, we have the Ubuntu startup sound. And we have Unity. Welcome to your new Ubuntu installation. It is done. Looking sleek, I must say. And from here, we're pretty much done. So now the question is, does it detect everything? It should. And ultimately you can find that out by clicking on the settings menu, and everything you need is right there. So feel free to explore Ubuntu. I'll be doing that myself, and I'll come back with some tricks and whatnot for you. and some other stuff. Stay tuned to my blog, which is where you're going to be seeing the most amount of action. computersoftwareisyourfriend.blogspot.com. Now, before I finish, it's prompting me with something. It's prompting me with updates. So it will likely do the same with you. It's checking on updates. And there are updates to install, I guess. Yeah. So you can go ahead and install these. Quite a few. That's no. Wow, that's a lot of updates. Alright, so I'll go ahead and install these updates, and you can do the same. You just click Install Updates. Now you'll notice that a lot of the UI in Ubuntu looks a lot like Mac. So essentially, if you're comfortable with the Mac UI, you should be comfortable with Ubuntu. And now essentially it's going to ask me for my password. Just type that in and hit enter. And then hit install updates again. That's their security feature. And it shall start. In fact, it's already started, as you can see. Let me just focus in. Here's the update manager right there, and as you can see, it's opened another screen which will show you that you're installing updates. There's a good chance at the end of the updates you'll have to restart, and that's straightforward. It brings you back to where you were before. In another video, I'll show you how triple booting works, although it's pretty straightforward from Grub. But if you want a different method, I can show you that. And Ubuntu, just for your information, if you did watch the Mac OS X on an Aspire 1 series, the Ubuntu at this point is the last operating system to be installed. So I'll be sure to write an article on that. So until then, enjoy your new Ubuntu installation on your Aspire 1. As usual, please do check out my blog, computersoftwareisyourfriend.blogspot.com. We've got a variety of articles on different topics on Ubuntu, on Windows, on Mac, on Hackintosh, even on iOS. And check it out, and please do subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos. We'll be pushing out more videos. And do comment, rate, and subscribe. So enjoy your Ubuntu installation and have fun with it.